You sing like an elephant. You're just not good enough. Girls don't climb trees. Girls were made to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And when I asked for help, I was told, you're big, fat, and ugly enough. Just do it yourself. Those last two sentences rang over and over in my head. They became my BS, my belief system, my limiting beliefs. How many of you have heard the same or something similar from an adult, teacher, your parents? And how many of you may be using the same words without even realizing how you're impacting others, your friends, colleagues, your children? You may not even be aware that right here, right now, you have a limiting belief that is holding you back from reaching your full potential. So just ask yourself, what could I do if I knew I couldn't fail? And if I did fail, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, one thing you don't know about me is I grew up to be quite a stubborn teenager. And I decided to say yes to life and be anyone that I chose to be. However, when I was 9, I had a terrifying experience in the ocean. You see, it was a beautiful summer's day and I was frolicking in the low tide waves of Gordon's Bay. And I looked up to face a wall of a wave with a huge school of fish heading straight towards me. I looked back at the shore and realized how far out I was. And as I turned back, this thunderous wave crashed right over me. I tumbled and I turned gulping for air. But the feeling of those fish slapping all over my body traumatizes me today. I swam out of the ocean so fast and swore I would never return again. Well, 10 years later, my mom and stepdad went off sailing the world and landed up in the Caribbean. And they asked me to join them. I said yes, to live on the very same ocean I feared. My eyes used to well up with tears every time I got on or off the boat. I slowly started to embrace my fear and got back into the water. With my parents on either side, I would hold their hands so tightly that my knuckles turned white every time a fish swam past. A year later, we were asked to sail a boat from Cape Town back to the Caribbean. The three of us said yes. As we left Cape Town's harbor, my stepdad turned to me and said, "You do realize we may not reach the other side." What? I wanted him to stop. I wanted to get off the boat. And he then said, "There's no guarantee we're going to reach the other side in a plane." He was right. But nothing prepared this 21-year-old socialite for this isolation. Picture this. No friends, no land, no devices, just my mom, dad, and myself out in the big, dark, deep blue Atlantic Ocean for 43 days. I swore I would never do that again. But 6 months later, the most beautiful, luxurious yacht came into the harbor. I met the owner that evening and he asked me if I knew of a chef, as theirs had just quit and they wanted to leave for Turkey the next day. "I'm a chef." My hand jumped up. I had done home economics at school and I got the job. That evening, I went back, packed a bag, left a note on my parents' galley table and said, "Gone to Turkey, see you in 6 months." And the next morning, I joined them as crew for 7 men. Our second day out in the Atlantic, my childhood limitations was challenged yet again. Boris from Turkey turned to me and said, "In Turkey, when a man talks, a woman shuts up. And when a man walks, a woman walks a step behind him." Well, this stubborn, proud South African piped up, "In South Africa, if a man wants food, they do exactly what a woman wants them to do." Lifelong friendships were born, Their bellies were filled, and 28 days later, we arrived in Turkey. I signed up to chef school 6 months after that. So I ask you, what could you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I have something I want you to think about. How many times have you taken something that someone has said and become a victim of their limiting belief? Was it true? Was it intentional? Or was it misunderstood? Your past does not equal your future. You are the power and authority of your mind. Be willing to take risks. Have the courage to try. And just ask yourself, what could you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Go and live that limitless life and go reach your full potential.